What's up, everybody? This is Edward back with another video. You like and subscribe, definitely. So anyway, this is gonna be a short video because I just wanted to recap on something. So shout out to Solo TV 84. Pretty much, I saw a video. Obviously Solo's great, and I pretty much said, let me watch this shit. And he played Jenny Mai, actually what Jenny Mai said. Now I've heard like a micro clip of what she said, but I didn't hear what she said in its whole entirety. And the reality is, when I actually heard what she said, I'm like, what the fuck is the big deal? Like, seriously. Like, what she said was a measured, modern approach, evolutionary approach from a woman that's obviously had a divorce. So she's not like everything's perfect. And she had to learn and grow into this take on how a woman that wants to basically live her life on her terms needs to approach having a relationship. And here's the thing. If you were to take out the fact that she's with a if you were to take out the fact that she's with a black dude, and a black dude that at least represents a Jeezy that represents the archetype of, I guess, a lot of what, sisters want, I don't know, whatever, it wouldn't be an issue. If you were to put her and she was with another white guy, it wouldn't be a problem. It really wouldn't. And this kind of just reinforces some of the stuff that I was already talking about. Because here's the thing. Go click on that video. It's in my community tab. And like a minute in, he'll start playing it. So go listen to it and then hear what she actually said. She talks for 2 or 3 minutes. And when I actually heard it, I'm like, what the fuck is the problem? It can't be actually what she said. Because she did not say, I'm going to submit in my man because I believe in submitting. She started off by saying, basically, that she's a tiger bitch. What does that mean? That, with Asians, tiger mom is pretty much like their version of strong, independent woman. And she said her mother was like that to the extent that her dad, and does this not sound like black culture? To the extent that shout out to Seattle for alluding to this a while ago, saying that Asians go through some of this too. Asian men go through some of this too, where her dad had to make a choice between constantly arguing and constantly fighting, or basically falling back and allow her to do shit. Because she was definitely willing to blow up every conversation every time. And a lot of black men go through this. I'm sure Black Huru could definitely speak, not that he went through it, but he's seen this as a guy that had kids and all that. A lot of men have to face this decision where, do I want to really fight this chick all the time? And then we got a family, a cohesion, do I want to fall back? And that becomes a slippery slope where a lot of times black men have adopted this ideology of this noble, the noble standby, where you're holding a family down by acquiescing to a weaker position just because she doesn't know how to lead and stuff like that. And this also goes back. Kevin is going to put up a video. Kevin's going to put up a video soon because he said he would, of like a clip of this woman talking. And I want to play, what I want to do is take what Jenny Mai said and play it against what this woman said, or at least put up both videos for you all to listen to both and see how that mentality from a woman's point of view, and this is a black woman, how that mentality kind of manifests in those issues and those relationships that nobody talks about. So the point is, she basically said she has tiger bitch tendencies. That's what she said. She has tiger chick tendencies, right? She got that from her mom. And then she also talks about how she had to be her own publicist. She's run teams of people that work for her. She's done a lot of her own stuff, and so she is a boss chick. And she understood how some of that definitely contributed to the breakup of her marriage. And then with Jeezy, she did not want to do that. She wanted to be very hyper aware of that. So when you listen to a lot of these, assuming these women pass the weight test and pass the looks test, this is the next step that a lot of these females, regardless of race, have to take. And see, what people don't understand is part of the appeal to a black man, even a black man that is on the upper tier, is black men by definition, and even Kevin says this, but when you grow up in a gynocratic culture, by definition, even if you're a dominant dude, you tend to have a tendency you don't have the my way or the highway situation. You have the tendency of, we can talk about it, But at the end of the day, if what I'm saying makes more logical sense, I'm going with that. I'm not gonna, run into the wall just for you to recognize that's not the right way to go. That's typically what black men are even in that, and even when they're the most patriarchal in America. This is why we say, if you ain't saying shit, we ain't trying to hear it. But if you actually got something to say, we will hear you out. If you actually got something that's worth hearing, not no, I got a pussy and I feel a certain type of way, so therefore. And I'm gonna keep it real with you. I dealt with it on I had a supervisor call yesterday, where it was I was talking to a black couple, and I had to take over the call, and the chick wanted to do she wanted to do something, and the shit was absolutely incorrect what she wanted to do, and the dude's in the background, and she did acquiesce to him, and you could tell kind of the mentality she has, where she can kind of get like sedity. And when you're with a dude that actually can lead you, you kind of have that. Being sedity is a privilege because you don't have to think like that. And she definitely. But anyway, my long story. My point is, this is from a woman that understands how she can be, and said, "I want to create a quality of life with the relationship that I choose to engage in." Nobody said she has to be a black man. She clearly looks good enough that if she wanted to get another white dude, she could, probably at the same level of what she already had it. Even though she's 40, whatever, I don't know. She didn't have to get with Jeezy. I mean, let's just be clear. It's not like she just regulated to the niggas. From what I'm to understand, she hasn't had kids. So I'm not saying she could have kids and restart a family, but if she wanted to do the single life, she definitely could. And so when you juxtapose that against Lonnie Love, was like, wow. Like, as soon as she started saying the word submission, and you juxtapose that, and you take all the bullshit out of it, you take all of the weight, the black, the color, you take all the bullshit out of it. If the black women that do think this way, if when they come to those same conclusions that Jenny Mai has, they tend to have better outcomes. Because all the shit that they say is bullshit. There's something to it, but they make it like the thing when it's not the thing. It is just the thing that they use to justify being in the same ideology they have. At the end of the day, you're not hurting black men. You're only hurting yourself. So when I actually heard what was said from start to finish, I'm like, goddamn, I don't understand how any female could listen to that and have a problem with what she said. This was not a woman that said, I believe. And she talked about what submission is and what submission is. She even said what her stuff is may not be for everybody, but at the same time, this is a woman that's clearly come to understand, look, I'm 40 years old. Look, I still have my looks, but at the same time, that's not going to be forever. Do I really want to look back? She clearly came to a conclusion on her own and decided to balance her. It was more about balancing herself out and understanding submission. Also, she went in detail and explaining with all of the work shit she does, boss shit she does. I'm not even talking about in that show, outside that damn show, with her career, from an entrepreneurial standpoint. She said, do I really want to come home and then do all that same shit? And she said, this is not about me telling Jeezy, yes, sir, no, sir. This is about allowing him to lead in the overall vision of what we want to do. And see, part of that is trusting the dude you chose. And see, that's the thing that women don't want to understand. See, what women don't like to admit is part of this control shit is that they don't like to take accountability for what they did. Meaning, you have every right to choose anybody you want for any reason. But at some point, if you choose a vehicle, you got to let that vehicle ride or let that vehicle fly. You can't choose a dude because a dude is more than what he looks like. And nobody on YouTube disagrees with that. A dude is more than just his money. The dude is an amalgamation of things. Just like when you choose a car or you choose anything, it's an amalgamation of systems. And certain systems may carry more weight than others. Certain systems may be boosted more others, but you choose the whole package. And see, the problem is you have women that they don't really want to choose men. What they want to do is choose their sexual desires. This is why I said, and I need to do a video on this on its own. The difference between submitting to leadership and submitting to your own lust. You see, when you submit to leadership, when you submit to your own lust, you don't give a fuck about that man. You give a fuck about what that man can do for you sexually only. And once that stops happening, or you stop caring about that, then everything else to do you can throw away. So really, you never wanted a man, you just wanted a human dildo. And Oh, well, don't when men do that too? Of course, men do that too. But the difference is, for the most part, men are under no illusions that that's what it is, and women are under no illusions that that's really why they're there. This is why women do a whole bunch of manipulation as far as trying to keep that carrot, the facade of that carrot out there, because they know if like how many dudes would take a chick out on a date if a dude absolutely knew that there was zero chance he was gonna get sex on that date. How many dudes, like let's say a woman saying I'm dating for marriage. Okay, how many dudes, if you say you're dating for marriage up front before you even go to the date, how many of you all would get that first date? Or if you said that on the first date, which I wouldn't hold that against a woman, you said on the first date, how many of y'all would get the second date? And what women will often say is women will try to play this game about, well, I know that he wants sex, but I don't want to give him sex because I really want this. And they don't really understand that, it's not just about that one thing. It's not, because that's another form of control. You need to trust who you decided to deal with. And see, that's the issue. Part of trust is letting control go. This is why I often say you can't truly love a woman if you can't truly trust her. This is why people say with the blue pill, red pill shit, you either love women or you can understand them. Can't do both. Not really. And you see that even in Will Smith's relationship. And you see what can grow out of that, even in the next generation. And look at what Will is in. But I guess he did the right thing. He married, right? But anyway, long story short, going back to Jeannie Mai situation, when you actually listen to what she said, those women should have no issue with what she said. And really, the way she said it was great because it's a good tell as to what the actual issue is. So anyway, I appreciate the super chat 99 cents. Appreciate that, Azrael. And I just wanted, okay, so we're 12 minutes in. I said I wasn't going to make this another hour, so I want to stay to that. They hate the word submission. What's up, Roastmaster, Anthony Taylor, Ezreal, where Irene you be cooking in, Oshie? Um, what's up, Keith? I mean, and here's the thing: it's not, what it really is we can use the word. People tend to get hung up on words and like to get. Here's the thing: with Jenny Mai is there's a saying that I say on my other stuff. It's called passion profits purpose, and it says find something that you're passionate about because that feeds your soul. Find something that makes you money because obviously that's how we need money, and find something that that gives you, well, purpose feeds your soul, passion is what you're going to want to do, profits is what makes you money and allows you to sustain it. So you want to find something that nothing, there's not going to be a lot that's going to be that perfect passion, passion, purpose, profits, balance, but you want to be aware of the thing. Maybe you need two things, but you want to be aware of having that balance with anything that you do and how that fits in. And this is a woman that clearly understands. I had a marriage, I had a marriage. Like I said, she still got to look, and she grew from that. That's all that is. This is not a woman that's coming here saying I'm gonna submit and you women need to submit. She knew what she was talking about, how that would be received, but she still wanted to do it because, quite frankly, the machine. Women are not built to deal with the machine as the machine is, as far as corporations. It will use you and throw you out. This is why you start to see women's life expectancy get more aligned with dudes. And see, women don't understand that because they've always perceived like guys have all the fun, all this bullshit that they've told themselves in that propaganda. But the reality is, this is a woman, for instance, this is honestly what Jeannie is saying is something that Tommy Lauren could pretty much adhere to. Rather than getting into the black girl talk of value in a white woman's mouth and thinking that the dudes at the level at which you're trying to play at, you're not just wanting NBA players, you want like the top 20 NBA players. You actually think the top 20 NBA players give any kind of fuck about what you want. So you come at it from an entitled position where they have no reason. Man, look, I'm going to say this and I'm going to be done. There's a scene in the last episode of The Boys. It's a really great scene. It's by Carlos Esposito. Very good acting. And there's a lot of racism that's been, not like racism I'm being, but the themes of it is a lot of racism, a lot of white, a lot of overt white supremacy shit. It's interesting that the boys are willing to go there, right? And the character, Stormfront, whatever, Carlos Esposito as a black person has to kind of address that because he's asked. And he very much so, like, he says a lot in that scene. He doesn't say like keep on talking, but he actually said there's a lot of layers to what he said about having to take the you out of something and then understand the different roles that you have. Like he has a role as a CEO, which has a certain role as far as like bot, as far as rating the stock price. And then he has a role as a black man. He has these roles, and how to balance is very interesting. I'm not saying you agree with it, but you see a lot of these double and triple thinks in the moves that he plays. And then when you understand, even though it's never explicitly said, you understand like some of the things as far as with the team, and then Black Noir being that he's a black man, and then why he chose to bring A Train back over maybe another one. It's interesting because it's never overt at all, but you have to. It leads it the way you'd have to read into it. But my point is, all Genie was doing was saying, "This is what I want. I cannot be Tiger bitch 24/7 because that doesn't benefit me and that's tiring. This has nothing to do with Jeezy. This has everything to do with her." And see, what a lot of women don't understand is submission is not really for the dude. You want a certain outcome out of that dude, and that's going to require a cost. It's like black men saying that I can get complete loyalty from a woman without there be any benefits of that woman, and then actually be upset when that woman looks for the benefits somewhere else. This is like black men thinking they're gonna get loyalty from a black woman, and then the sex is not gonna be good, because we know our women value sex over money. And this is like black men actually believing that they can actually sustain a relationship with a black woman under struggle love, and that sex is gonna be enough, which is not. Because now you have a lot of dudes that understand the value of their money, and that's only gonna get more pronounced. Like all that OnlyFans shit is gonna burn itself out sooner or later, because a lot of that OnlyFans shit is gonna start winding up on other places of YouTube, so it won't be that big of a deal. So a lot of the chicks you want to see, it's like you paying to see seeing new shit, and people are not gonna give a fuck about paying the same price to see new shit. That shit's gonna get harder and harder and harder. And then as you start to see more people come into that from other places, that shit's gonna get harder and harder and harder. And I'm gonna tell you, you can say what you want to say about Tiger, but one thing that Tiger showed that, like, maybe because he's so famous, it's no point in him doing it. But there's a lot of dudes that fulfill a certain role, whether those are dudes in porn or dudes in other. If they're willing to go there, they can easily get a whole bunch of bitches, and then basically travel and lifestyle, be like male thoughts, just like these chicks are, and then pull value from females as well as pull value from dudes by proxy of the bitches that they're fucking and dealing with. A lot. So there's a lot of, you never know how that shit is going to evolve in a positive and negative. You also don't know if more celebrities are going to come into that shit, which is going to actually make it so that's going to suck up some of the market share. So you don't know that, because a lot of, even with YouTube, a lot of that went more commercial. Yeah, I didn't watch that show. But like I said, man, I take the meat and spit out the bones. That's all that is. And with that, and to be fair about that show, that's a show of him interviewing chicks. But at the end of the day, all of this stuff that it comes down to when it comes to this shit, no matter what you call it, game, whatever you want to call it, it's that as a black man, you have to do what's in your best interest. You have to protect yourself from all entities, foreign and domestic. That could be as close to your vest as family. That could be as far away as whatever. That's all that means. That's all it is. And everything that we do is pretty much an example to make you aware of the environment as to why you should do that. That's it. Like, assess every situation for the costs and benefits, and do it honestly and emotionally. I'm telling you, like I said, with the CEO of VOD, Carl Esposito's character, he very good scene. If you've seen it, I don't want to spoil it, but if you've seen it, it's a very good scene. It's a very good scene if you understand the context. But the point is that it's not a big deal. Like, I don't understand how any female, even a modern female, Even a feminist will have an issue with that. And see, this is why I keep saying it's not about feminism. It's about, at this point, we've entered the world of feminine supremacy. That's what that is. And this is this, I want my cake and eat it too. This is this, I want everything and then some. I'm entitled to everything. And you can't deal with nobody. Now I'm not saying all women operate that way, but see, they don't have to operate that way all the time. A lot of women, they step into that role and they step out of it too. This is the degrees that I'm talking about. And at the end of the day, and shout out to Mr. Research, when women are doing that, the greatest power you have is the power of choice. Women tend to not do the same shit if they know they can be replaced by equal or greater value at any given time. And I'm not saying you got to hold that over her head, but if they don't, but sometimes you got to remind the bitch that they're definitely expendable. You just do. And some of them won't give a fuck. And that's fine. It's about you protecting your shit. That's really what it is. And most dudes don't like living in that situation where there can be zero trust or anything like that. And it's unfortunate, but that's just what it is. And even listening to something like that makes perfect sense. And see, and I'm gonna say this, and I'm done. This is why it's unfortunate, because this is why a lot of black men leaving is such a big threat, because you have women that come to that conclusion, and they don't all come to that conclusion at 40 years old. And then you got to understand that people will talk about Jeezy saying she's 40, how can you do that? But see, black men do that with black women all the time. You have Keisha Cole dealing with a dude, it's like, and she's like 40s. So this idea, again, remember what I told you all. I told you all that black men don't do anything for non-black women, that they all have not been women. But see, when you like that, now that wants to come up. Stream. All of that shit they doing is sexual. Paris Milan channel is a sexual politicking channel. That's really what it's, sexual politics. Honestly, I really should start a YouTube channel and call it sexual politicking, and pretty much talk about all these different areas of activity and how a lot of women say colorism, all that is sexual politicking. They really don't care about it. They just care about the sexual politics of it and how it is aligned with them. And that's a very selfish way to see shit. And that's why I often say that a lot of dudes need to stop feeling guilty about a lot of shit, because that shit is a very self-serving bullshit. That has nothing to do. Because when you're like that, you're never thinking about the exchange to get. Black people, when we talk about reparations, there's things we built for this country could not have got to without us. Also, when we talk about reparations, we're also talking about where this country needs to go in the future. At the end of the day, the country needs to go into Africa, because in America, period. And that's an advantage that we have that the Chinese don't. I just basically outlined right there a case for doing the right thing for a reason. But see, people don't think that way. And when other people can see that, that's just game. That's just a con. What is Marco saying? Oh, if you just gonna troll, because it looks like you just trolling. Anyway, y'all. Anyway, with that being said, it's Edward signing off. Peace.